When I bought my dream home on a quiet street, I thought I'd finally found peace, wide skies, open land, and freedom to live my own way. But that peace shattered the moment the HOA decided my property line was theirs to cross. It started with a few cars cutting through my gate, then turned into daily trespassing like they owned the place. I warned them. I begged them. But they didn't listen. They laughed. So I stopped asking and started planning. They thought they could walk all over me, until the day they drove straight into the trap they never saw coming. For as long as I could remember, I'd dreamed of having a piece of land that was mine. Not just a house squeezed between fences, but real, open space. After years of city noise, parking tickets, and neighbors who complained about everything from trash cans to lawn heights, I wanted quiet. I wanted space to breathe. The neighborhood itself was unusual. It wasn't quite rural, but not exactly suburban either. A handful of properties sat along a looping road that used to be farmland, until developers came in, built new homes, and convinced the old residents to join something they called the Ridgeview Community Association. Then I started noticing the cars. At first, it was just one or two. SUVs I didn't recognize, driving up the gravel lane that led to my gate, slowing down, then cutting across the edge of my property to reach the paved road on the other side. The first time it happened, I assumed someone was lost. GPS in this area could be unreliable. Maybe a delivery driver had taken a shortcut, but then it kept happening. Morning, afternoon, even late at night, I'd hear the crunch of tires over gravel, the metallic creak of my gate being nudged open just far enough for someone to slip through. And before I could step outside, they'd be gone, leaving fresh tracks across the dirt like scars. I put up a small private property sign. Bright red letters, impossible to miss. But that didn't stop them. In fact, it seemed to make things worse. One afternoon, I was walking back from the mailbox when a white sedan slowed down right in front of me. The driver, a woman in her late 50s, hair perfectly styled, sunglasses that probably cost more than my fence, rolled down her window just far enough to say, "You might want to leave that gate open. It's part of the community's access route." Then she drove off before I could even respond. That was the first time I heard the words community access route. That evening, I dug through the HOA documents I'd signed months earlier. There was a mention of shared maintenance easements and temporary right-of-way for emergency services, but nothing, absolutely nothing, about an access route through private property. My driveway was mine. The land was mine. The gate was mine. Still, I didn't want trouble. I figured I'd talk to the HOA board and clear things up. Their office was set up in one of the newer homes at the end of the street, with a polished brass plaque by the door and flower beds that looked like something out of a magazine. When I arrived, 3 people were already sitting around a table inside. A man with a name. "I'm sorry," I said, keeping my tone calm. "But it's my private property. If people keep driving through, they're trespassing." He gave a tight smile. "Oh, don't think of it that way," she said. "We're all part of the same community. Everyone does their part." That phrase, "everyone does their part," stuck in my head long after I left. The next morning, I installed a simple latch on my gate and kept it closed. That same afternoon, I found it open again. Not broken, not forced, just unlatched. A new set of tire marks cut across the dirt. Over the next few days, the situation escalated in quiet, frustrating ways. HOA newsletters started arriving in my mailbox with highlighted sections about cooperative access, community harmony, and non-obstructive property usage. One note slipped. Then one morning, I woke to find a printed notice taped to my mailbox. It was from the HOA board. The first line made my blood run cold. Notice of non-compliance, unapproved gate obstruction. They were threatening to fine me for locking my own gate. That was the moment everything changed. The realization hit hard. This wasn't about community access or convenience anymore. It was about control. They wanted obedience, and the court hearing was set. The neighborhood buzzed. The HOA tried spinning it as a community safety hearing, claiming enforcement of rules, but the truth was clear. The hearing room was packed. At the front, the HOA president, his attorney, and the woman from the sedan waited. Their lawyer started with rehearsed arrogance. Community harmony, safety hazards, non-compliance. Every sentence polished, detached from reality. Then it was my turn. I handed the judge a small USB drive. "Your Honor, I'd like to submit video evidence." 10 minutes of footage played. Trespassing, vehicles cutting through my property, attempts to open my gate at night, the SUV collision, every moment captured. The courtroom went silent. The HOA president's face flushed crimson. The woman lowered her head. The judge turned to the HOA lawyer. "Do you wish to respond?" He stammered about context and selective. Outside the courtroom, whispers spread. Neighbors who once avoided eye contact now watched with disbelief. The HOA board resigned. The president moved away. The association meetings were postponed indefinitely. But peace didn't come all at once. It returned gradually. Quiet mornings, crunch of gravel under boots, absence of trespassing. I kept the gate, kept the cameras. The fight had left scars, but it had also left strength. Even months later, when I saw a stranger slowing down near my property or surveyor flags appear unexpectedly, I felt readiness, not fear. I was no longer the homeowner being put. Months passed, and Ridgeview slowly returned to normal. The neighborhood felt lighter, humbler. No more anonymous notes. No more secret meetings. The air was quiet, but I carried a watchfulness. Peace isn't absence of conflict. It's standing your ground. I never removed the cameras. The gate stood firm. Each scratch and dent told a story of resistance, of refusing to let someone take what was yours. The HOA had tried to isolate me, but their actions created a ripple. Neighbors started speaking up. A small, informal group formed, sharing stories and rebuilding a sense of community. Life moved on. New residents arrived. Some asked about the HOA. I told them the truth. It fell apart. But the lesson remained. Control works only if others obey. The moment you refuse, power collapses. The final takeaway, peace isn't given. It's defended. Property is more than land. It's dignity, freedom, and principle. Knowing your boundaries and standing by them is worth every sleepless night, every battle, every scar. Now, when I close that gate at night, it's not just protection. It's the sound of peace, hard-earned, unshakable mine. Because sometimes, to protect your peace, you have to build a gate. Not to keep people out, but to remind them where your freedom begins.